Welcome back, everybody. We are live in Sioux Falls at the Pentagon here for Missouri Valley Football Conference Media Days. We are live on WDAY Plus, Inforum.com, exclusive here for the next couple hours. If you missed it earlier on Hot Mic, we were on for the first 2 hours here for the first of its kind to get us ready for the upcoming football season. So if you're asking me why the guy on my left is here, because he's all basketball all the time, well, he's got another job title. You have as many job titles as I do, Josh Fenton.
Yeah, I don't know. You call me whatever you want to call me.
It's good to see Summer League Commissioner Josh Fenton.
You know what I am? I'm a helper. Just call me a helper.
Well, so you do have an official title. What is your now title with the Valley for
executive advisor?
Oh, that sounds important.
Yeah,
that sounds important.
Yeah,
what does that mean?
It's a good question. No, it's honestly, I'm here to support Jeff, support Kyle in leadership roles. Obviously, this is a new structure with our league being more involved. We have some of our staff members, Ryan Powell, Emmy Wolf, and others that are now more, Minnie K, and others that are more intimately involved on the football side of things. And so, me as the Summit League commissioner, trying to help the Missouri Valley Football Conference while using our staff to advance their interests, I've got to help kind of direct their side of things. But Jeff and I have been communicating quite a bit over the past probably 6 to 8 months on this, and look forward to working with Kyle.
Okay, so this is something you and I think every time I've seen you, we've talked about was either Summit League football or something adjacent to it. So give us the backstory, at least on your side of it, of bringing the Summit League into a line with the Missouri Valley Football Conference.
Yeah, I think it goes back, maybe a year plus ago when those within the Missouri Valley Football Conference room, in particular the presidents, maybe to some extent the athletic directors, were trying to figure out kind of what's this next iteration, knowing that Patty Viverito would retire when she was going to. And, I think there were different models that are kind of bantered back and forth. And I think I would take you back to the maybe late summer, early fall of last year, where kind of in a combined manner, whether it was through me, it was through the presidents, it was through Jeff, kind of looked at this and said, well, for the collective best interest, it would be best if everybody kind of came together and we supported it out of the Valley and supported it out of the Summit League. And so then Jeff and I ultimately worked on kind of a shell of an operational model that ultimately became a memo of agreement, memo of understanding amongst the schools that are in the Missouri Valley Football Conference, to whereby the Summit League and the Missouri Valley Conference would kind of co-operate and help manage the football conference.
So let me try and explain this maybe, and you can correct me if I'm wrong. So now for potential membership, you have a school out there that has multiple sports, not just football. Say, okay, we'd like you to join the Summit League. And if you have football, you're automatically in the Missouri Valley Football Conference. Is that how now you can present it to the presidents on going forward for potential realignment?
Yeah, that's correct. Now there's an opportunity. It's not just the Summit League side. I mean, it's obviously on the Missouri Valley side as well. If we believe that there's a member opportunity out there and they have a football program and they're wondering where they can put their football program, obviously we now have an answer to that.
So that on the Missouri Valley Conference side, you're saying as well, that
correct,
if Jeff was looking at a potential school, that they could come in and play football.
it's not just
that's good to explain. Thanks for doing that, because I think maybe some, including myself, maybe didn't know that there was maybe exclusive just to your league.
Yeah, I would say it this way. Membership expansion from the football standpoint, I think, can happen in two ways. Through the multi-sport conferences, ourselves in the Summit League or the Missouri Valley, or if not through the multi-sport conferences, a single sport member that just becomes a member of the Missouri Valley Football Conference. Ultimately, that goes to a vote amongst the Missouri Valley Football Conference presidents.
Okay. It's long gestating to have it now come to fruition, to have this come to because there's another thing we talked about, because you and I have been fortunate enough to do this at Summit League Media Day for basketball the last 2 years, which has been dynamite. How high a priority was this for you to say, hey, we've done this on the Summit League side, this could be really successful for football?
Yeah, I think for Jeff, Kyle, and myself, it's been a huge priority. I mean, Jeff and I have been talking about this well prior to Kyle coming on board. The Summit League is going to support more so on the digital content side of things, content creation, graphics, video.
You guys have done dynamite. I will say that. I'm not saying you're there. You guys have done a dynamite job on that.
Well, thank you for that. But how do we expand the brand of the Missouri Valley Football Conference? Tell the stories of the great things that happen in this conference. This is just one aspect to that. And so We've got a staff member on our side that's dedicated to it, and then obviously Ryan Powell and others in our team are working on it too.
There's some news I want to get to, obviously, with the league, but as we get forward to the upcoming school year. I was talking with Jeff Jackson about this to wrap up Hot Mike. You and I also talked plenty about NCAA tournament expansion. Mm-hmm. There wasn't a decision made. Do you believe it still could happen for 2026, that the basketball tournaments could expand?
I don't have any information that says one way or another. My sense is it probably still could happen.
Okay.
My guess is the time frame to do that is probably within the next, I'll call it, few-ish weeks. And so I don't think we've got a lot of time.
Yep.
But, yeah, I sense that we probably still could get there.
Is there more of a sense, Josh, of commissioners, administrators want it? I don't know, fans have necessarily clamored for it. You talk with people all the time. Do you get a sense that, hey, we'd love to go to 76, 72, or 76? Do you hear that?
Yeah, so I liken it in really kind of two ways. One, the primary way is how do we increase experience and opportunity? And if you look at other tournaments in comparison to the amount of Division I schools, basketball, men's and women's, is actually on the lower percentage side because everybody has a men's and women's basketball program. So if we can experience opportunity even for a handful or a couple handfuls of schools more in their student athletes, I think that's a good thing. Second, in order for it to happen, it has to make sense financially.
Yeah.
And so I think that's been a lot of the backroom work that's been going on as to whether it can happen financially. Obviously, conversations with media partners, CBS and Warner Brothers Discovery, TNT Sports. If it can make sense from a financial standpoint, covering the expenses, plus covering expansion of more units that would obviously have to be paid out, not impacting what we call equal conference fund distributions that are from the basketball tournament, then I think you'll find a lot on the administrative side across college basketball or college sports in favor of it. If some of that stuff can happen, then I think it's a different discussion.
I want to talk about your league. I have not had a chance to ask you about this. So anecdotally, feedback on the move of the basketball tournament to a weekend finish. What did you hear?
Really positive. Yeah, I think people generally like finishing on the weekend, having games on national television Saturday night, Sunday afternoon, and again Sunday night. A big positive for the league. CBS indicated a significant viewership increase, and so that was a real big positive for the league. And I think just for the fans that attend the tournament, kind of containing it into 1 week or within 1 week as opposed to spanning into the next work week. I heard a lot of people say it was nice to wake up on Monday morning and not have to worry about trying to get to 4 basketball games because we were done on Sunday night. So all in all, it was a positive move, and look forward to obviously the future.
I thought it was a great move. I've talked to you about this while you became commissioner on it. To see the television was interested. I was curious on that because I believe this is the last year of your current agreement with CBS.
The upcoming year, yes.
So where are you at there, television-wise? Can you update us on where media rights?
Yeah, so we're in the middle right now of discussing what does the media rights picture for us look like July 1, 2026 and beyond. And that's in 2 fronts. From a linear standpoint, we have a great partner in CBS and have enjoyed the relationship. We are in the middle of a discussion right now about what that looks like for the future. And then secondarily, on the digital front. They have to work together. CBS knows that. Midco Sports knows that on the digital front. And so it's really I got to have parallel conversations at the same time.
Would you say with the weekend finish, does that bring other partners maybe to the table now that maybe have other television windows available to them that could negotiate with you?
I don't know that I would say that. CBS has the windows. I'd love to have a conversation with CBS. Jeff's good problem that he has is he plays his men's championship on broadcast.
Correct, on CBS, big CBS. You're right.
So CBS knows that that's a stretch goal for us, and they've indicated that. Over time, maybe that's a conversation we can have.
Okay.
So
that'd be huge.
That would be huge, and so they've been a good partner for us, and like I said, we're right in the middle of trying to figure out what it looks like for the future.
Obviously, the news came out last week, Josh, that the Summit League basketball tournament is going to stay here through 2029. Another thing we've talked about, it seems like ad nauseum every time I see you. Were there other cities that were interested?
Yeah, we talked to multiple other cities. We went through a bid process last, I guess, summer, so it's summer of 2024, that spanned into the early fall, and then a little bit of analysis in the fall, and then ultimately a decision that came in the winter through the President's Council. But, yeah, we talked to multiple cities.
Was there a appetite to potentially move it, or how much was the history of having the event here, how big it is for the community here, how much money, frankly, just at the bottom line that generates it, was that overwhelming to maybe not move it to another city?
Well, I think there was an appetite to go through a fair process to look at various things to determine what was in the best interest of the league. We had 4 priorities: student-athlete fan experience, financial/revenue generation, what we termed competitive equity, how do you reward the regular season success, and then 4, how do you use the tournament to help expand the brand of the conference? Part of this, Dom, there's a lot of tentacles to this. One, people have enjoyed a combined gender event.
Yep.
And you can't do necessarily a combined gender event anywhere.
Some events or some venues just can't accommodate that.
Correct. Yeah. Some can't accommodate it. Some may not have the days. Some may not have the infrastructure to do it. There's a media side of things related to TV that's important, that may be more impactful in one market over the other. So there's a lot of things surrounding the brand, but those 4 things, and I wouldn't say any of them are higher priorities than others, as you got or gathered the information back and understood what the opportunities could look like, for today and for the time being, it seemed as though the best decision was to expand or enter into an extension with Sioux Falls.
The fact that by the time this agreement's done, Josh, it'll be 2 decades here, which is all you've known since being part of the league. Mm-hmm. How important was that to get that long-standing relationship, continuing it here in this city?
Well, what I would say is that through the city and the mayor and obviously the Premier Center and the administrative staff over there, they've been incredible partners. I mean, you've been a part of our tournament. You've seen
it's the Super Bowl down here. They really treat it like that. For people that haven't come, and I scream at people in Fargo and Grand Forks, they come down to experience it. It's a big deal.
Yeah, I would echo those comments. And we're actually going to change the ticket process slightly a little bit to give more access to schools and their fans that want to come into some of the more desirable seating locations. And so I think that's going to be a good thing for everybody, and so that's going to be a new process this upcoming year. But, yeah, I mean, we've got great support out of the local community, and we've got partners that want us to be here.
Yeah.
And for the priorities that we establish, like I said, for the time being, it's what makes sense.
You're a conference commissioner in Division I, so I know it's hard. You have a lot of restless nights. What's keeping you up right now? The House settlements in the rearview mirror, although now I know there's legal battles to come, but what are you – okay, now that's done. What's the next thing that's on the horizon for you?
Well, I think, there are always things connected to the House settlement.
Correct.
I just think the uncertainty regarding the national environment. How are we going to be able to govern and manage intercollegiate athletics at the Division I level without constantly finding ourselves in the courtroom? I mean, the latest flavor is eligibility challenges.
Yep.
And
constant ones.
And we now have to answer. I think the answer is easy, but we have to answer on whether we want intercollegiate athletic eligibility to be based upon an academic career and what we kind of know as an academic career,
or an athletic career,
or are economics in the market going to dictate eligibility? And I will tell you, if it's the latter, that's a totally different look of intercollegiate athletics. And I hate to say it, I don't know then what happens to those that are in high school that eventually find their way into college sports if we have eligibility that's based on something other than academics.
And then you're talking about employees, right?
That's
what you're looking at.
And I mean, frankly, just eligibility. And so, college athletics has existed because they've been students on a college campus for decades. And I think that's a core tenet and a core principle. And we, the NCAA, have been successful in most of these eligibility cases, but there's a lot of murkiness in the national environment that we still have to work our way through.
You come up every day, I do this show, it's like, all right, what's the next thing that we're talking about and dealing either with eligibility, with NIL, with the House? It's been so long for me to actually talk about stuff on the court, on the field. It feels like it's been totally removed since even like the College World Series wrapped up, and that was still in the middle of the House stuff. I feel like I haven't devote enough time to the actual athletes participating.
Well, and you're familiar, there's a publication that comes out into all of our emails every morning. It's called the D1 Ticker.
Yep.
And the amount of stories that you see in the D1 Ticker that are associated with legal battles or concerns about the future of our industry way outweigh the positive aspects that you're speaking about.
Yep.
And ultimately, Don, we got to get back to this is about experience and opportunity. For typically people that are of an age of, I'll just say 17 to 22, 23-ish years old, right? Maybe 24. And it's a co-curricular experience while they're a student on a campus.
Right.
That doesn't mean that they shouldn't earn money for their name, image, and likeness. I'm all for that. But we still have to keep in mind that this co-curricular experience exists and what makes college athletics unique. Because if we start to untether that, then I'm not sure where we're going at that point.
Last thing before we go, we got to get rolling here. Big Sky Challenge is coming back.
Yep.
Have you added any caveats with Tom Wistersill this coming year?
Not yet.
Bodybuilding?
No, not yet. No
pickleball,
no bets.
Like that?
Yeah, no
Okay.
bets. We have been talking about.
You can brag. You guys have won it 2 years running.
I know. We have been talking about how do we think about this thing beyond, because it was original 3-year agreement, and this is the last year of the 3-year agreement. So
are you going to keep going?
We're working on
Okay.
it. Hopefully, some news out into the future here.
You never break news on this show.
Well, I
Come on.
kind of alluded to something there. Surprised you didn't ask me about membership.
I did.
Yeah.
You got anything
Oh, you
to
did?
add?
I didn't. I kind of answered the way I know I
yes,
answered.
you know the word salad Fenton answer. Like you never get anything out of you. So.
Is that what I'm known as in Fargo?
On this show, absolutely. So it's great to see you. I will see you in a couple months when we're down here for basketball. All right.
Awesome. Thank you.
Josh Fenton, the Summit League Commissioner, joining us here on our streaming special from Missouri Valley Football Conference Media Day. UND football head coach Eric Schmidt joining us here in just a couple minutes. We'll be right back. Welcome back, everybody, on WDAY Plus. It's a Missouri Valley Football Conference Media Day live from Sioux Falls. Appreciate Josh Fenton joining us. Got a bunch of coaches lined up, including the new head coach of the University of North Dakota, Mr. Eric Schmidt, good enough to join us. Pride of Mandan, North Dakota. You got Getzinger was talking your ear off over there, so that's why you're a little bit late. I'm going to move this a little bit closer to you. There you go.
Thanks,
perfect.
sir.
All right, tell me about this. You've been part of other media days, obviously, in your travels in the FBS. The fact that they're doing this here, when you heard about it, what were your thoughts?
Yeah, I think it's awesome. I mean, not just for the coaches, but for the league, for the players. You know, to be able to bring those guys down here and for them to be able to experience something like this is doesn't happen everywhere. You know, I just think it legitimizes our league. Like, our league's been, at the top of FCS football here for a long time, and I just think it's something that, you need to do to separate yourselves from everybody else. And quite frankly, it's on par with, what the group of five are doing and those types of things. So I just think it's awesome. Obviously, Commissioner Jackson and Josh Fenton, those guys, to be able to do that, like, a lot of gratitude for them to be able to get this set up, but it means a lot to the league. And obviously, for guys like you to be able to come down here and do this and see it, I think it's, thankful for you guys too as well, the media, for being able to come down and do this. Like, it's a big deal, you know what I mean? And
it's
when
talking ball, man. I'm pumped. I know you are, so it's time to go.
And I think, you look at, kids from North Dakota and South Dakota and things like that, to be able to do a media day. You know what I mean? You don't have to go that far away now to be able to do it.
Yeah.
You can do it right in state and go to those places and have all the experiences that maybe they see on ESPN or on on the national media and that kind of stuff. So I think it's huge. It's awesome for recruiting. It's awesome for our league, and number one, it's great for our players.
All right, last time we tried it, I think it was about May. So now I know. Here we go. Season's right around the corner. Anticipation for that. You did spring ball, but fall camp is different. That means the season's here. What's your emotions about now, getting ready for this to go?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, I think the summer's been, really good. I know this is talking season and all that kind of stuff, but I really believe that, hey, there's a year-round calendar here. There's a process of development that you can't skip, certain days and things like that. Like, what you do in May, like when we were talking about before, and what you do in October is just as important, in the overall scheme of things. So I really like the way our guys have worked all summer long, the intent, the competition, that they've been able to do. And now I think it gets to a certain point where you're like, all right, like I'm done working out. I'm done, in that phase of my development. I want to start playing football, put the pads on again. We do a lot of things in the summer schematically, with rules and things like that, but it's not the same what you're going to do in fall camp, and it's not the over and over day in, day out, deal that you do. And I think that to me is something that I'm really excited to be able to see from our team. We talk it a lot, like, in our relationships that we have with our players and even our recruits, that, hey, it's awesome to see you run fast. One time to run a 40 fast, but can you do it day in and day out? Can you run 40 of those fast? Type of deal. And that'll be the thing I think that excites us. And then obviously our staff, too, to be able to, we've done a lot of things here to grow close to our players, but now it'll be, you're in the foxhole with each other every single day and trying to get these guys better, and it'll be really fun to be able to start that process.
You have some positions, obviously, up for battle. Quarterback, I think, is one. There's some other ones. Let me start with quarterback. Do you have it in mind, like, I need to have whatever we're going to do decided by blank? Do you have that in mind yet?
I think it's whenever they earn it. Okay. I think that's one thing, about that position, every position. But I think, there's always a lot of, eyeballs on your quarterback position. So I think it's important that whoever that guy is, that, hey, man, like, hey, whenever he's, proven it, that he can earn it, whether that's a week in, 2 weeks in, whatever it is. And I think, the good thing is in spring, Simon wasn't there. He was recovering from a shoulder injury. He's going to be 100% ready to go now here, starting. So I definitely feel like, he'll add another, another ball, another set of reps, to that. Javance, I think, if he walked in here today, you'd be like, all right, like that's the way a quarterback should look. Yep. He's 6'4", he's 220 pounds. And then Jerry's probably improved the most, and Jack Sulik right behind him. Like, Jack's kind of the sleeping, the sleeping giant or whatever. He's the tallest guy, but he's kind of the, maybe a little bit of the silent guy that maybe not as many people talk about. But I just think, once again, like, and when you're in a quarterback battle off of it, like, there's pressure there. So you're going to be able to, some of these guys might not have had game reps, but the pressure of being in a battle is really, really valuable. Not that we're going to grade them whether they're in a quarterback battle or not, but to be able to be in that, I think really, will bring out the best in those guys. So, to answer your question, whenever somebody earns it and we feel like they're ready to go, then we're going to do it. You have two running backs back. How much of a nice luxury is that to have with two guys that have played and have as many reps as Isaiah and Gavin have? Yeah. I think, Sawyer Seidel, too,
Sawyer's
as well.
In there too,
Sawyer's in there. I think Sawyer's super explosive. I think, bringing in Xavier, who had a really good career up to this point, I think adds to, we want to be able to be a multiple back system off of it and be able to feel like, hey, those guys are fresh in October, November, and December yet, especially when, they're getting a lot of carries and they're different guys. I think the one thing that excites me is they all catch the ball well, which I think is important at that position. We want to have 5 threats on the field at all times, so it's nice to have that luxury, but they're a little different than once you hand it off to him. Xavier's got a little bit of both, as far as he'll make you miss, and he's got some power and some violence to be able to run behind his pads. You guys have seen Z Barth enough and what he can do and wear on teams after a while. And then Sawyer's the home run guy. So I do like that. Hey, we have different options back there, but to have 3 really good players back there, I think is a huge advantage for us, and an advantage where we can play more than one of those guys on the field. At the same time too as well. We're going to bring up, for our viewers that are watching, your schedule for this year. And I know you're only worried about K-State, but that's a heck of an opener to play Chris Kleiman in the Big 12 to start. You got to go to Missoula, Montana as well. And I know experiences of there from your previous time at UND. That's a heck of those 2 non-conference are tough, regardless of getting into Valley play. How much is that not as a benchmark of like, okay, we're going to find out how good we are even before we start Missouri Valley Conference play? Yeah, at times, right, like those first 4 games sometimes are just as important, for national implications and stuff like that, stuff that you guys get to talk to, all the time. We've really talked very little, in our building about those games, and those are outcomes that we'll take care of the process, right now, like, those are outcomes. And when we walked into this place, like, it's anybody, anywhere, anytime. Man, you're going to have to beat teams and play teams like that in our league week in and week out, in order to be successful. So, we take them as we get them. Like right now we're working on, hey, how can we have the best Monday practice that we can have, the best Tuesday practice? Like I said before, I think it's the only thing we're in charge of is our daily disciplines, how we attack every single day, and then, the scoreboard and those games will take care of themselves once we get there. Last thing for you, and I really appreciate you coming by and doing this.
I've noticed it. I've had Bison fans tagging me on my show. Boy, UND's out there recruiting. They're winning battles against SDSU, or they're going head-to-head with the Bison. And what used to be maybe a 90-10, it wasn't even a game, is flipped on that. Tell me about your aggressiveness in recruiting and why the success that we've seen, especially locally in 2026 so far.
Yeah, I think relationships, right? Like I think, every kid has his own journey, and everybody just assumes they put a paintbrush over, hey, I know what this kid's going to do because he grew up here and he had this relative that played here and all this kind of stuff. Like, you really got to do a good job of getting to know kids and what their why is and what they want. And I think we've done a good job of being able to connect the dots, of being able to say, hey, this is what this kid wants. This is what we're selling. And some kids, quite frankly, we've lost some battles and honestly, like, hey, that kid doesn't really, fit our criteria for what we're looking for. So I just think, hey, man, there's a lot of good schools in our area. I got a lot of respect for all those guys, but we're not going to bow down to anybody. It's not about fearing somebody. Like, we have a really good product to sell. We got a first-class city. Our facilities
are great. The indoor's great.
Yep. And then everything that's on top of that now with the efficiency of being able to get into a weight room, into a locker room, into athletic training, the nutrition piece that we're doing now, like, we're doing our stuff, and we're doing it at a high level. And if it's something that a kid feels like, hey, man, like, these guys, I got an opportunity to be the best version of myself. Like, I can lock arms with these guys, and they're going to help me get there. It's as simple as that, at the end of the day. And that's kind of what we've hung our hat on here early.
It's great to see you, bud. Thanks so much for the time. I will talk to you during fall camp, all right?
Sounds good. Thanks, Dom.
Eric Schmidt joining us, UND head football coach. Fighting Hawks have their opener coming up August the 30th against Kansas State. On the other side of this, Travis Johansen will join us, USD head coach. Come back on our streaming show on WDAY+. Welcome back, everybody, to Sioux Falls. Missouri Valley Football Conference Media Day rolls on with other new coach number 3 we've had on the show today. South Dakota head coach Travis Johansen joins us. Congratulations. We haven't had a chance to have you on since you got the job. I'm sure you've been drinking out of a fire hose, right, is the old saying, or things slow down a little bit?
Yeah, I don't think it ever slows down. So, yeah, I think, immediately you just hop in the chair and get rolling. It's been nice to, obviously, get a chance to be head coach. Being there, being a part of it, seeing it grow over the last 5 years has been huge. But, it's, like everybody says, you don't know until you're in the chair, and particularly in today's day and age.
I haven't had a chance to ask, so I'll let the hard stuff right out of the hop. So April comes, you're in the middle of spring ball, and you have players that are at practice one day and then gone the next. And they're not just any players. These are All-Americans. These guys are huge contributors. As a first-year coach doing this, how did you handle that on a day-to-day basis?
Yeah, I think more than anything, you lean on your team. We've got great staff. We got great players. We have guys that want to be there. Guys that and to be honest with you, a lot of those guys want to be there.
Yeah.
What this market turned into was, the
amount of money some of these guys are getting is
crazy. We all
can't say no, right?
No. So, there are a lot of conversations with a lot of them, and some got to a point where it was, that's a little crazy. But how do you navigate it? You go out there, you put your head down and work. And what it did is it opened up opportunities for guys that we've recruited, that we love, that have a ton of reps, and pour into those guys. And those are always going to be our best players. They're our guys we developed through the program. And I think we leave with a lot of confidence that we did that, and that they actually got those reps in spring. It didn't happen later on in the year.
I think, Travis, from people on the outside to see South Dakota over the last couple of years, like, all right, the Coyotes have some really nice offensive players, but defensively was where things were lacking. And then, bam, things just changed. And I know it didn't happen overnight because you've been coaching there, but describe the rise for 2023 happens, and you guys are just night and day. It seemed like it was different.
Yeah, well, we felt that way in 21. We host our first playoff game in 35 years, and we had multiple NFL guys on that defense, and we had kind of grown. I got there in 19 and 20. We had obviously the COVID debacle of a season, what we tried to do there, but we jumped into 21 and felt like our feet were really under us, and our 22 season. Just internal issues that we didn't handle well. And so really we felt like starting in 21, we had gotten the program to a spot where
was happening
we
there.
can go, and we thought we'd see 21, 22, this is not uncommon. So, our response from 22 was probably looked a little bit more surprising than we felt. But, we've been able to recruit really good people, develop the heck out of them, and put good systems around them, give them a chance to be successful, and that's happened at a pretty high clip here the last 2 years.
To have this giant over here back, just when he decided to come back, because we're televising the final game of the year, and we see Aidan come out for his senior day. I'm like, all right, okay, I figured that. Probably going to maybe have a chance to move on or somewhere else. How much were you included on the decision there? Hey, he's going to come back for us, and you're going to have him back in 2025.
I was just surprised anybody. Kind of when it, I think the itch after leaving the semifinal game of just being the ultimate competitor, that didn't feel right. He wanted to run it back, and and all of those players that were coming back, I'm sure at the time gave him the confidence to do it. Yep. But he just wanted to compete. He wanted to compete at South Dakota. He wanted to lead this team. And see that through. And so we all know the opportunities all these top-tier guys that are in this building could get. And for him, we're just indebted to him as a human being for leading that way. And so, I think that gave me a good burst of energy, certainly when taking the job.
I remember, Travis, when North Dakota State lost to Eastern Washington way back when in 2010, that was the spur to get the championship run going. You feel like similar that game in Bozeman, we can build off this, that we're so close that we're not far away from winning the whole thing?
Yeah, I think there's all those pivotal losses. And you probably up in Fargo, you can name those over the years, and we're just a little bit more in an infancy in FCS football at South Dakota, so we're starting to stack those up, and a lot of those were getting our tails kicked in years ago by some of the top teams, and how we've closed those gaps, and then being in those stages deep in the playoffs, how you respond and gain comfort and confidence from that. So I think we're naturally going through the progression of how you become an elite national title competitor every year, and that trip to Bozeman, I think for all of us was, we knew what we had and the opportunities we left on the table, and how you need to respond if you're in that scenario again.
To have a guy, you mentioned Aidan back, and I don't take no offense, I'm talking offense, I'll get to your defense in a second. Charles Spear Jr. back, that's a real luxury now as a head coach. Say we've got two really dynamic pieces back in 2025.
Yeah, not only just great athletes and players, but unbelievable leaders and people. And we always lead with that. And so, those guys, they're going to be who they are. I think the best thing about them both is they're so selfless. They've shown that through their careers. I remember in 22 when Aidan wasn't the starter, he was the most supportive player of our starting quarterback in our entire program, coaches and players alike. Charles, with Travis Tice and with L.J. Phillips and with some guys in the past, just splitting carries, being a running back by committee, and so happy and so invested in that other player's success. Now when he's in that role, you're just excited for him. So, I think that along with a bunch of good leadership and some guys up front and some young guys we're going to count on up front, we're pretty excited about that offense.
The question I got from Bison fans, Travis, last year is how in the world did USD land a guy like Mike Grace? And I know he's gone now, but can you share the backstory of how you got him to Vermillion, South Dakota?
Well, it was great recruiting by Corey Brown, our D-line coach at the time. Mike Heese was playing tight end and running back.
That's a scary thought. Running back for that guy.
He was so youthful. He looked like he was like 13 years old when he first walked on campus in this grown man body. It was really late in the recruiting cycle, and then he developed. He worked so dang hard for us. He was a talented kid, and I know gave some Bison fans some nightmares there early in that game.
Tell me about your defense, and knowing Gary Bryant obviously moved on, Mike Heese moved on. What do you really like about the pieces you have back for 2025 on that side of the ball?
I think like every year you're going to lose good players. We've lost Jack Cochran and Brock Mogensen and Stephen Hill and all these guys that have played, and nobody knew who Gary Bryant was a year ago.
Correct.
Zero people. So, Nate Ewell coming back is a really talented backer. Gabe Hardeman, Wade Abrams, we feel really good about that room. In the secondary we lose two guys guys in Dennis Shorter and JoJo Gaines, who had been staples for 3 and 4 years apiece. But Tim White's come with a bunch of experience. We brought in a transfer, DeJuan Lewis from Lamar, who's fit in incredibly, high-level competitor, really productive player, and a lot of talent will play out at corner, just unproven in our defense.
Yeah.
So, and then probably where we're most confident is our depth in D-line.
Okay.
Oddly enough, you lose, what you think is so many guys, and next thing you know, we look up and we're sitting there with 10 or 12 guys who we feel really confident that can go win football games for us. So it's a good depth. It's going to be win by unit committee like always, but it'll be interesting to see who steps up.
I know you're worried about fall camp. We're going to show your schedule for the viewers that are watching at home. You open with Iowa State. That's not easing into the schedule at all, knowing full well what they have. And then the Valley opener is in Fargo. So the schedule is really interesting to me of what you have for your season opener and your conference opener to go here in 2025.
Yeah, I think when I got that schedule put on me, I went, really? Particularly because the Bison have a bye week before us.
Yes.
And you got a good Iowa State team. But, this league is what it is. We're going to play 12 straight games. And
I was going to mention that. Yeah, your bye is at the very end.
Yeah.
Have you ever experienced anything like that before?
No, we did the Bison a big favor and let them play St. Thomas at the end of the year so they could have a bye week before us. So, yeah, I was pretty fired up about that one. But, frankly, I've been part two. We won a national title in the NAI where we had 11 straight games.
Yeah.
And so it can really work out to your benefit at the end of the season. I know you guys experienced that as well. And we're looking forward to that challenge. I think it's, can you front load your schedule and play great football? And God willing, you're in that position at the end of the year to take advantage of a bye.
You've seen it firsthand of how the Dakota Dome is transformed. I remember going down for the regular season game in 22 and then the playoff game in 23. And I know physically the dome has changed, but just energy-wise is different. You've been a part of it. Now the Jackrabbits are coming this year. It's going to be on national television. You got it. That's a huge deal for you guys to have ESPN and SDSU there this season.
Yeah, it is. It's a big deal for us. Our fans have grown into it. I think like all fans in the Missouri Valley, and they continue to show up. They continue to fill the building, particularly when they're the big games.
Yep.
And for the first time, to be honest, in my time there was our NDSU game in this year, where really there's some pivotal times happening in that game, and
it was crazy.
Yeah, they made it a tough place to play down the stretch. So that's what we need. I think when you go to any of these buildings and you're playing an opponent, you want it to be difficult, and you want to make it difficult on an opponent. And so, when you come to Fargo and you got to deal with all that, and then you go to Brookings, you got to deal with that, and you come to Vermilion, you deal with that. That's what makes this league great, and we're excited to play in that environment. But our dome is. I think we've gotten it back to the way some of those guys remember it in the 80s and mid 90s.
Two things before I let you go. From your NAIA days, now to see guys come up from the NAIA ranks or the Division II or Division III ranks to make impact in Division I, I think something like, wow, I didn't know the level of football is there. You experienced it. Tell us about that there are guys that can make that jump almost seamlessly to FCS football now.
Yeah, sure, particularly in this league.
Yeah.
I think you find out really quick how much room you have for growth. When you dive into this league, there's a lot of seasoned, really good coaches, but football's football. And I think if you've been around good people and you value the right things, the things that are still going to win football games, they transcend any level. How you deal with resources and all that other stuff, that's learning on the job a little bit. But I think when it comes to coaching the game and connecting with players and developing people and having camaraderie and developing selfless, really resilient human beings, that's what you got to do at every level. Mm-hmm. So it's been great to watch and some of the guys we've hired and frankly that gives us the longevity we need with people that are staying and growing in their careers a little bit. So it's football.
I got to ask, the moment before the kickoff at Iowa State, now you realize I'm a Division I head coach. Which is going to go through your mind before that first game that I've done and I'm a Division I head football coach now?
I hope we kick a touchback, or we field this ball well. Yeah, I think I'm going to be pretty focused on the 6 inches in front of my face and making sure I don't mess it up for our guys.
Will you take a moment, maybe even before the game, just to reflect personally on the kind of career arc you've had?
Probably, but I'll try really hard not to.
Yeah.
I'm going to be thinking of Aidan Bouman and settling him down. It's going to be a pretty emotional day for him.
Yes.
Just getting out there and competing.
No doubt.
Our entire team with such a these springs aren't easy. When there's so much, so many things happening to your football team and that capacity, and to their teammates in your locker room. The journey we've been on to actually get back out on the grass is going to be a special moment for our team, and hopefully I can keep focused.
Looking ahead, I've noticed as well, and I was talking with Schmidt about this before you came on, recruiting battle-wise, USD's winning against SDSU. They're in the mix with the Bison. Just describe doing that, winning head-to-head against the Jackrabbits, against NDSU, against UND, how important that is to get guys to come to Vermilion.
I think number one, I think we, what I see, and I got a lot of respect for all these coaches. I think we value a lot of the same things.
Yeah.
So what we see in people in a lot of ways and how they'll fit our programs might be more like-minded than ever. So yeah, they're battles that mean something because the athleticism's right there with the people, and that's the combination you're trying to find. And we're all trying to recruit the Midwest hard, and we're all trying to recruit these states that are valuable to us. So, I think we've got to win those games. We all do. We got to beat each other to have a chance to win.
I always look to, Travis, before I let you go, look at who is offered this particular player. If USD and SDSU and NDSU have offered this guy's good.
Yeah.
There's a reason why these schools are in it. Do you pay attention to that? Okay, if the Bison have offered this guy, maybe, or if the Jacks have offered, we might need to look at this guy closer?
Well, if we haven't already.
Right. If he's not on the radar.
Yeah, sometimes the fit isn't the same.
Yep.
We've got certainly a different geographical location. Sometimes it's academic. Sometimes it's positional where we don't get involved. But, yeah, when your counterparts are offering somebody, we're going to make sure we've done our evaluation. And when we haven't, we're going to make sure we do. And maybe along the way we make them pay a little higher buck for them, especially as we move forward. So there'll be a little art to that.
Right,
sure.
there's always part of that. It's so great to see you. Thanks so much for doing this. Congratulations on the gig. Good luck to start the year. We'll have you on Hot Mic once the season gets going. All right.
Anytime, Don. Appreciate it.
Travis Johansen joining us, USD first-year head coach. Coyotes open the season on August the 30th in Ames, Iowa against Iowa State. We come back. Their quarterback, Aidan Bouman, will join us. We roll on our WDAY Plus special right after this. Back here on WDAY Plus, our streaming special continues from Sioux Falls, a Missouri Valley Football Conference Media Day. Our next guest I first bugged in, 2017 or 18 when he was a scrawny kid playing in Buffalo, Minnesota. Now ready for his 5th year of college football at the University of South Dakota. 3-year starter, quarterback Aidan Bouman. It's great to see you, bud. How you been?
Very good.
All right, let's go back in the Wayback Machine because I remember covering this game, 80-70 Elk River Buffalo football game. How many touchdown passes did you throw?
I think I had 8.
8.
Yeah.
8 games.
Yeah.
So what do you remember about that game?
I mean, that was definitely one of those things. I mean, it comes up every time I come home somehow, some way. Somebody's talking about that
That's
game.
8 years ago.
Yeah,
man.
I mean, but that was that.
Unbelievable.
Yeah,
it was
that
national headlines,
yeah,
right?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was unbelievable.
When you're in the middle of that, I mean, are you shaking your head with your team? It's like, this is the greatest game we've ever done?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I think it was midway through the second quarter. We were down by quite a bit, and then we put together a few drives, and then it was literally just like back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, and it's just like, is this ever going to end? You know?
I'm obligated to ask on the Pontius brothers, since obviously they're from Buffalo, Minnesota, your relationship with the Pontius family.
Oh, yeah, they're great guys, great guys. We were very close in high school. I
Yeah.
still remember just hanging out. I actually had, a Snapchat memory pop up of Hunter just the other day. We were messing around at my house, and he was trying to throw a frog at me or something random like that. So, yeah, no, definitely great family there.
The recruiting road, I remember when you got on the scene. To take me back, what you remember the initial high school, like when the first Division I stuff started to happen. What do you remember about that?
Yeah, it was definitely it was really fulfilling. Obviously, my dad played forever, so that's all I ever wanted to do. So did the whole camp circuit those 2 years before, and then finally got my first offer from Iowa State, and then ended up accepting it before anybody else really said anything. So definitely was a very exciting time in my life.
When that offer came, was that the first realization, like, hey, somebody believes I can play Division I football, or did it happen before that?
No, I mean I've always believed in self-confidence is like the number one thing in order to be a successful football player. So I always knew, but there's definitely a little bit of gratification there of understanding that someone else believed in me too.
Tell me about your time at Iowa State. What do you remember about it now?
Yeah, I wouldn't trade it for the world. It was a great learning experience. I was a young kid. Truthfully, I'm not ashamed to say it. I didn't go about being a Division I football player maybe like I should have, and it was huge for me to learn that. Really grateful for the coaches that believed in me originally there. Made some of the best friends of my life there. Been to 2 of their weddings this summer.
Is that
already,
right?
So
wow.
that definitely have created some great relationships there. But yeah, I wouldn't trade that for the world.
So the decision to go into the portal, tell me the backstory on South Dakota getting in the mix and saying this feels right. Vermilion could be the spot I want to go to.
Yeah, I mean, I think right away, he's standing right there, Coach Rosenthal. I've known him for a long time now, and he was there. And right when I went in, the first thing he did was he didn't say anything about South Dakota, anything like that. He just called me and said, "What can I do to help you?" Because he was so knowledgeable in that whole realm of things at the time. And so right off the bat, I already knew. I'm like, okay, that's a genuine connection right there. He cares about me, not just football. But then obviously it came to a point where he's like, hey, yeah, come visit South Dakota, see what it's all about. And went there for the spring game and literally left, and I was like, that's where I'm going. I knew it right off the bat. It was a special place. It was, truthfully somewhere that I knew about, but I didn't know all about it. So it was something that opened my eyes right away, and I'm like, I love this place.
Describe biding your time. Getting there, I'm like, okay, may have to wait. You've already had to wait. How tough was that, considering all you've done is play your entire life?
Yeah, no, it was definitely difficult. But it again, all these experiences of quote unquote failure or whatever you want to call it, have made me to what I am now. So I think it was difficult. I wanted to go there. I wanted to compete and play. But at the end of the day, I'm still on a team with 120 guys, and all that matters is our team's success. And so all I could do was cheer everybody on and do my best of my role at the time. And then when my time finally came, I knew I had to take advantage of it.
I think, Aidan, for a lot of people, South Dakota really arrived the game a couple years ago in Fargo. You guys come up there, and USD was, all right, well, the Bison had always handled them, and you guys came in and won the football game. What did that do for you personally and for the team confidence-wise to go up to Fargo and win like you did a couple years ago?
Yeah, no, it definitely was a confidence builder for sure. We knew how good we could be, and not necessarily like that was the game that was the turning point, but it was definitely a point in the program where it's like this should be a standard, is that we come and compete with these top-level teams in our conference every single year. And after that game, I would say that it's no matter who we're playing, it's like, hey, we were going to compete with this team.
You feel like that changed confidence-wise? It's one thing to say it, but it's another thing to go and do it.
For sure. And it's the same if you kind of go back to the whole offer or D1. It's the gratification. You know what I mean? It's just the tangible, okay, I know that we can do that now. So
that year ends the quarterfinals. I know disappointing with the Bison. Then last year you have the kind of year you have where you make it one round further and make it to the semifinals. How gratifying was that to say, okay, we did it, and then we improve what we did upon the previous year? Yeah, no, it was definitely, again, best season in school history in the Division I era. It's something to be very proud about. But that was the main reason I came back, was because of that game, truthfully. I couldn't get over that, couldn't get over that. We had the team to do it, and we just didn't get over the hump. And now this offseason, it's been tremendous fuel for our team. Everybody knows what that feeling was like, and it was awful. We never want to feel that again. So it was not glad it happened, but glad that we know how to use that motivation. I talked to a lot of former players, Bison players, on when they lost 2010, they lost in Eastern Washington, similar fashion to you guys. That spurred what was to come. You feel like that could really happen of what happened in Bozeman last year? I really do. I think that our culture, and this is no knock ever on USD, but when I first got there in 2022, the culture now compared to then is so much better. It's unrecognizable what this school has done football-wise now. So I think I definitely, like you said, can kind of build that momentum going forward. I have to ask, so we've televised you're doing your senior walk, the game against NDSU. So tell me the thought process. You're thinking, I'm done, this is it? Yeah, I mean, I got married last June, so over a year ago now, and that was, happy anniversary, by the way. Thank you very much. Thank you. That was definitely a determining factor. Is okay. I got to start my life. I'm married. I want to start my family. The next chapter of life. Okay. Yeah, and obviously with my dad playing, that's been my number one goal my entire life. So I was going to throw my hat in the ring last year, and
then again, that last game happened, and luckily my wife was beyond supportive. That was the number one thing is, hey, do you want to do this with me? And she said, of course. She packed up. She's working in Sioux Falls now, and she's making the trek every day like a trooper. Love her to death. She's amazing. Happy birthday to her too. It's her birthday.
Oh
today,
wow!
so happy birthday.
Yeah.
But that's for sure.
Okay, so you make the decision, and then April comes, and the offensive line you thought was going to be there isn't. Is that frustrating? I know you're probably supporting your guys. Hey, it's the era we live in, but this wasn't what I signed up for in December.
Yeah, no, it's definitely difficult when you have two guys like that left, both extremely talented guys that I have become really good friends with. So I shouldn't say it wasn't a surprise or a blindside, because at the end of the day, like you said, that's just college football nowadays. But yeah, it was tough, but I knew the culture that we had. We have, again, like I said earlier, we got young and hungry guys that really want to play. And they've really turned some heads this offseason of what they can do.
Was it, when you saw those guys decide to leave, Aidan, was it frustrating, or was it just like, okay, well, this is different. This is not the team I thought we were going to be in 2025?
I wouldn't say frustrated is a word. I think it's this is the one thing I have to say about all of that is you never know what reasons of guys doing it for, and
Absolutely.
there's too many different reasons, so I'm never going to judge someone. Don't get me wrong, great players would have loved to have had them, but at the end of the day, if they have to do something for reasons that we don't understand, that is what it is.
So, knowing the schedule full well, you're opening with Iowa State. You're telling me that wasn't any part of the decision, knowing full well who the Coyotes were opening with this coming fall?
I have to say no, it was not, but it definitely is an added bonus. I'm extremely excited to go back there and play in that environment. It's an awesome environment.
Is there a little, hey, you're talking about earlier, prove it? Like, hey, this is what I am.
Yeah.
Could have been.
Yeah.
No,
I mean, I'd be lying if I said no. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But at the end of the day, it's another football game. We got to prepare the same. Can't make it bigger than it is. But it's definitely going to be a really exciting time to go.
I was going to say, what do you think? You've been in a ton of big atmospheres. What do you think the emotions will be before that one?
Oh, it's good. It's going to be big. There's going to be some emotion there and nostalgia of being in that stadium quite a few times during game day. And like I said, they have a great atmosphere there, so it's going to be really exciting.
I'm interested. What has your dad told you about memories about playing the Bison? Is there anything that comes up from his days at St. Cloud State? Because I hear about all from older Bison fans about the Bouman name of how well he played against NDSU.
It might have been NDSU. It was either one of the Dakotas. Yeah. He always talks about. I think the Potato Bowl. Would that have
That's
been?
UND.
Okay,
yep,
he
UND.
said he got potatoes thrown at him or something like that. Like, I mean, the stuff he talks about back in the day. I'm like, that could not happen now.
Do you often talk football, or do you stay away from it when you talk with your dad?
All the time, and not in a way that's like a coach to it's just we just talk ball. That's just what we do, whether it's football or golf or basketball. Like, it's just sports all the time. But don't get me wrong, like during the season they sit in the box kind of right by us, so there'll be times I kind of look up and I'm like, what did you see? He's like, well, kind of
so is it more hand gestures than anything?
Well, we'll talk.
Okay.
We'll talk. So I mean, he definitely is like an eye in the sky for me a little bit there.
Is that you welcome that, or is that you like some distance between it, like, hey, dad and coach?
Now I welcome it with open arms. I will say in high school we butt heads quite a bit, so that it's definitely changed since then.
When you look back at I'll end the conversation how I started looking back at those days in Buffalo, looking around like, holy cow, we got some dudes here. Now, years removed from it, like, we had some pretty good players on that team.
I've said that to a few guys when you bring up high school football. It is what it is. You look back and
Minnesota high school football. You can brag though, especially in the Twin Cities. It's really good.
Yeah, and
really good.
I mean that team we had that my junior year. I still am almost dumbfounded that we didn't find a way to make it to state, because it's just the amount of talent we had on that team was unbelievable.
I look at it now too, where the amount of guys that are coming out of the Twin Cities now that are not just going to the Missouri Valley, that are going high-level places. You got to be awfully proud of that. But look at what my hometown is doing, our home area is doing right now.
It's definitely something to be prideful of, that we're finally getting the respect we deserve for Minnesota football.
It's great to see you, man.
Awesome.
Good luck this year. Stay healthy. Good luck at that opener. We'll see you at the end of September up in Fargo again, all right?
Sounds good.
Aidan Bouman, senior quarterback, University of South Dakota. Coyotes open up the year against his former team, Iowa State. USD plays NDSU at the end of September. We'll come back. We'll start the second hour of our streaming special here on WDAY Plus right after this. Plus, Inforum.com, our Missouri Valley Football Media Day special rolls on. That was a perfect segue right before Mike got out of what we do. What are we going to talk about? Mike McFeely,
what are we talking
joins
about
us,
again?
columnist from the Forum of Fargo-Moorhead. Great to see you. We are here. We're doing Missouri Valley Football Conference Media Day.
I'm flitting around,
Yeah.
talking to coaches,
You're
talking
big
to
time
administrators. I'm doing this thing all the place.
What do you got? What did you find out?
Northern Iowa has a ways to go.
Okay.
But Todd Stepsis, I was just talking to him behind you here. He kind of likes what they have, but he said they have
kind of what we thought. Some work to do there.
But he says the support from the university and the community is great.
Yep.
And he said sometimes it's better to be chasing somebody than to be on top. We were talking about the old days when before he was there, obviously, but when North Dakota State and Northern Iowa were the rivals. That was really NDSU's first rival.
Yep.
And
it wasn't the Jacks.
Oh,
it was
my goodness
Northern
gracious.
Iowa.
They just had some great football games. And he said, you know what, maybe it's best that now that we're chasing them instead of them chasing us.
Your favorite thing? I have the Missouri Valley preseason poll in my hand.
Okay.
The Bison got 39 of 42 first-place votes.
Yes.
The other 3 went to South Dakota.
Yes.
What do you think
South
about that?
Dakota State got zero first-place
yeah,
votes.
The Jacks were picked second in the league.
Yeah, get more overall points. Yeah,
Yep.
I mean, in this transfer portal era, I don't know the value of preseason polls anymore. I mean, do we know? We have an idea.
Close eyes and throw it a dartboard.
Yeah, I mean, we have an
basically.
idea of some of the teams
Right.
and what they have coming back and which teams lost less than others did
Yep.
and the quality of what was lost and all the things we've talked about on this program multiple times. So I saw the poll. Yeah, okay, that's probably the way I'd go to.
Yeah.
I don't know if there's anything that stands out where you bulletin board
No,
material
no,
or something.
nope.
It is what it is.
The great, and I had Dan Jackson on, the head coach of South Dakota State earlier, and I told him, I think the great question mark is your team. I think a lot of people believe you're going to be good. I do. I'm one of them. I think they have a lot of talent. Just don't know how it's all going to come together. What say you on the Jack Rabbits?
Yeah, we've talked about this before too. Is I don't know that you can lose 24 of your best players off your roster plus guys that you graduated, and then try to replace them with transfers and say everything is fine.
Hunky-dory. Yep.
That's the question is NDSU has lost some kids. South Dakota has lost some kids. I don't know that anybody lost the number of quality players that South Dakota State lost. And so that's my question about the Jacks. They're a program. They do a great job in recruiting high school kids. I'm sure they've got kids coming up that were third in the depth chart last year that are now second or third. Just like every
Correct.
NDSU's in the same boat in a lot of positions. And so we can assume that they have some quality players there. But I just don't know that you remove that many guys from the top of the depth chart and then just keep on rolling. Maybe FCS is so watered down, if that's the right word, and everybody is so squeezed together that maybe the Jacks by mid-season are rolling along and they're the number one team in the country. I don't know.
Any other big themes you got from visiting with people today?
No, just everybody's talking about NIL and revenue and transfer portal and all of these different things, and you kind of hope that you get away from that, but you can't. You can't escape it. So that's always going to play a big role. I know you had the commissioner of the Missouri Valley Football Club, Jeff Jackson, on. I was talking with him a little bit as well, just trying to talk about some of the big picture stuff about expansion and whether that could happen. And he said, well, it's really up to the Summit League and the Missouri Valley Conference.
So Fenton was on. I asked him the same thing. So how he explained this to me, and this was news to me, that it's not all on the Summit either. That if the Missouri Valley wants
the
a team,
basketball league adds a team,
they could come in for
football. And if they have a football team, they would come in for
that
football.
That was news to me. I did not know that.
I agree. I did not know that either.
So that's something to keep our eyes on then as well. If the Valley's out, and obviously Jackson is the commissioner of both, that if the MVC is looking at somebody for hoops, now we've got to keep our eyes on.
And that all played out with Murray State.
Correct.
That's how we got to this point.
Correct.
Because the Valley wanted Murray State's basketball and baseball team turned out to be really good too.
Yep.
And the football team didn't know where it was going to go, and I don't think they knew that it was a separate entity and all of these things. And so they ended up
they did not.
They ended up having to vote to put Murray State in the league, which I have columnized about many times. And so that has all been.
So I guess that maybe for you and I to open up our eyes a little bit to who else would fit maybe the Missouri Valley blueprint?
Yes.
To get in, because there's a couple schools that come right off. Like Lindenwood looks to me like maybe that's a school in that Missouri Valley that plays basketball that also now is football that maybe comes to mind.
I don't know if they're looking right now. Josh Fenton did tell me, he said, right now there's really nothing happening. But things always change.
I told him I was disappointed they didn't get the Texas schools. I don't think he cares about my feelings.
No, he does not. I guarantee
you. I think you and I were both of the mindset that there might have been an opportunity for the league to pounce, and that did not happen.
Yeah, and the Utah schools ended up going to the Big Sky,
Correct.
which geographically makes more sense than the Valley.
I didn't want any part of the Utah schools.
No,
honestly.
I know, and so, but we'll have to see, where that goes if they add any teams. But I know that you and Athletic Director Matt Larson of North Dakota State were talking about the Big Sky going to 9 conference games, which means they only have to find 3 non-conference because we're going to a 12-game schedule now in FCS.
Full time. Yep.
And so, does the Valley want to expand so you can have – well, they have 10 teams right now.
Yep.
So you could have 9 conference games, play everybody, then just have 3 non-conference.
Yeah. What say you on that? What do you think?
No, I don't know. I'm fine. I don't like the
SEC's even at 8.
I don't like the huge conferences where you don't like the Big Sky where you don't play everybody.
Right, the Big Sky next year will be at 13 schools.
So you end up with 3 co-champions that never played each other.
Correct.
And then how's that affect?
Ask the CAA how that worked out for them in the postseason.
And so
last year.
I'm not a fan of that. But was it Larson or Fenton brought up the idea that if you expanded to a certain point, then you could have divisions.
Yes.
In your
could do that.
Was it the Summit League they were talking about maybe, or maybe that was the Valley. But you're talking about having divisions if you had 12 teams.
Boy, if you had, in this league, how lopsided would that be? Knowing all the power is in the Dakotas already. And already each of the Dakota schools play one another.
Yeah.
If you're one of the if a Southern Illinois or Northern Iowa or Murray or Indiana State and you don't have to play 2 of the Dakotas, you're going, let's go. We got a chance to win a couple more ball games.
And so I don't think
year.
that would be good for the Valley. I'm a big fan of playing everybody else in your league. And doing it that way. So that. What really interests me is the Mountain West, but we're not going to talk about that.
Not going to happen here. We'll save that for tomorrow's appearance,
we'll see.
right?
We're not going to talk about it now. Yeah.
You are talking about, because I had Fenton on as well, about the Summit League basketball tournament, something you and I love covering. We've been down to this city many times to do it. Is going to stay here through 2029.
Yeah.
I asked Josh on our interview, and I asked him if there were other cities involved. He declined to tell me what other cities that did bid for the right to host it. I'm intrigued on that, Michael, to see who else was in the mix to potentially get the Summit League tournament.
Yeah, the rumor I heard was Minneapolis, Des Moines, Kansas City, and Omaha.
Those are all fairly big cities.
Yep. And so I talked with Josh at length about the Minneapolis situation because if you want to grow your brand, and one of the reasons they were excited to get St. Thomas was what? Was that it was in a major metropolitan
in the Twin
area.
Cities, correct.
So if that's what your pitch is, then think about going down there.
Yep.
Right?
Playing your major event.
Playing your major event
showcase event there. Yep.
Knowing that there's a 6-figure chunk of money that goes from the Summit League tournament back to the schools.
To the member schools. Yeah.
And that you have a full house for the championship, and that shows up on TV in front of 1,300 people on CBS Sports Network. And so, but is there any way? Is there any way that you could get the tournament to Minneapolis for at least a couple of years and just try it? North Dakota State has a huge alumni base, as does South Dakota State.
Right, correct.
In Minneapolis and St. Paul, and so just to try it. Just to do something different to. Nothing against Sioux
Falls.
Like a
balloon trial, just see what it's
just
at.
Do it for 2 years.
Correct.
If the numbers are even close.
Yep.
But there are logistical concerns with
Did you hear a venue for Minneapolis?
I heard Target Center, yes.
Wow.
Yep. So
now that would have been fun.
But how serious that is, who knows?
Yep.
One of the issues is, the Summit League has the men's and women's tournaments together.
Yep.
And so you have to have an extra day and fit in there, and it has to end on a Sunday. They want it to end on a Sunday, so for TV purposes and the weekend
for
purpose.
For years, so.
Yep. And so, would the Target Center be able to accommodate that?
Yeah.
For example.
Right. If it were to go, it was
you know.
up for a bid there.
Yep.
As it is, it's going to stay here. And, again, the competitive advantage will still be totally on the side of South Dakota and South Dakota State. Certainly
Correct.
South Dakota State with it being here, as we've seen.
Well, and I asked Commissioner Fenton about that.
Yeah.
And he said there's actual data that shows that it's more the seeds that lead to the championship victories rather than South Dakota State.
Well,
he said,
so last year it bears out.
And the example that he used was,
year.
he said, there's more examples than just last year, but last year was the perfect example.
Right.
He said Omaha won the league.
Correct.
And
St.
by
Thomas
the end of the
finished second.
season was the best team in the league,
Yep.
and they won the tournament.
Yep.
And South Dakota State lost in the first round.
And then I also then point to the crowd that you had for that game.
Yeah.
You watched it. I watched it.
Right.
There was a smattering of fans that were in the stands for that game.
Yeah.
That's the
Right.
fact of what you get there, too.
Yes.
So
if you're going to have a smattering in downtown Minneapolis.
Right? Well, that's the thing. My last point.
But the tickets were sold, though.
Correct.
They were not used, but they were sold.
My last point on this, do you think now with St. Thomas being eligible that more fans will come this March with the opportunity they have a chance to go?
I don't know. No.
That's just not going to happen,
you ever
think?
talk to somebody from St. Thomas? You think they're gonna make the trek out to the
St.
prairie
Paul
out
to
here?
St. Paul's probably not.
No, not at all.
Okay. That's the other thing I'm beating my head on.
I don't think they have a huge fan base anyway. The arena they have is tiny.
Well,
they're going to have
brand new one.
Brand new one.
Really, really nice.
Right.
That's a whole other topic to get into on why Bison fans and don't come down to Sioux Falls for the Summit League tournament. That one I'll never be able to wrap my mind around.
Because it's 3 hours of driving, 6 hours round trip in March.
Yeah.
And half the time you're getting a foot of snow and the wind blowing 40 miles
That's
an hour.
true. The trip down here was
in Summit,
lovely here.
there's bodies left in the ditch from last winter. So that's why.
Anything else excited about for getting ready for the Bison Open Fall Camp next week? We got plenty of now. We'll talk about this tomorrow on the show. But
the thing that interests me most about the football season is a couple of new locales for games in the non-conference season. A couple of
Charleston and Nashville
destinations, if you will, and then the start of the league season for NDSU is
no creeping into that.
It's not easy. South Dakota, Illinois State,
Yep.
and then they kind of have maybe a breather against Indiana State, then the Jacks.
Yep.
So we'll as Tim Paulsek said up in the press conference, we're going to know where we stand by the 5th or 6th week of the season.
How many questions did he get about Cole Payton this morning?
None.
Really?
Really.
Wow. What do you make of that?
I don't know. There's no the Fargo guys that were asking questions have already asked them.
And all the questions they've already asked
Yeah.
on Cole. That to me is the real interesting part about this going forward, about how you're going to play a quarterback. I'm really intrigued to see that now after 4 years.
But the same question is for everybody.
Yeah, that's
other,
true.
other than the kid you just had sitting
Correct.
here
That's
before
the
me.
only now. That's the only one.
And the kid in Illinois State is back too.
Rittenhouse is back.
But no, I mean Cam Miller continues to be the most underappreciated quarterback in NDSU history. You look at what he did last year; it was amazing, and just so many big throws, so many big games, so many big victories. I don't know if you can replicate that. You got to come close.
Got to find it. Yep, no doubt.
I mean, Cole Payton's in a better spot than others because he has got guys who can catch the ball.
He's got some dudes around him. There's no doubt about that.
That's not the case in every location.
All right, let's stop here because I want to save for some time. You got to be on the show tomorrow or no?
Sure.
Make that happen.
Okay,
all right.
Yeah.
Great to
I
see you.
I get the usual stipend?
Per diem? Yeah,
yes.
we'll take care of that. Just talk to Eric right over there. He'll get you hooked up there.
Perfect.
Mike McFeely joining us here. You'll see Mike tomorrow bright and early, 9:30 on Hot Mike on WDAY Extra. We come back. Brock Spack will join us. Illinois State head football coach is coming up. We come back on WDAY Plus right after this. Welcome back, everybody, on WDAY Plus. Our streaming special rolls on here from Sioux Falls, a Missouri Valley Football Conference Media Day. Super pumped for our next guest. Now I can say the dean, the elder statesman in the Missouri Valley, Illinois State's Brock Spack. Great to see you, bud. How are you?
It's great to be here.
You're now the old man in the league.
Is that unbelievable? I can't believe it. Yeah, life gone by fast. All of a sudden, you've been in college football for 42 years. But yeah, it's been. It's been really fun to watch. I've gotten that question quite a bit about, what have you seen differently?
Yeah.
And I have to give you guys a lot of credit. Not just not just North Dakota State too. All the Dakotas have been very very good, and they've really been an upgrade. And competition is great. Because if you want your rivals to be good.
Yep.
And if they're not good, you don't get the best out of your own team. And so it's kind of. And you guys have done that. It's just been a tremendous
what do you
example
remember
of all that.
When NDSU and SDSU were being touted as potentially come in? Do you remember about this could be different for the league?
Yeah, I mean I didn't know much about them. I didn't. But I know South Dakota State, I think, and North Dakota State were both in the league when I came.
Yeah.
But I just know that we both teams drilled us in 2008, I believe it was. So we were able to win one. And we beat you our first 2 times, if you remember.
I do
Unbelievable.
remember
that. And it was unbelievable. And it's happened since then. But but the level of player talent and the facilities, and it's just been phenomenal. This is a great league to be in, and that's why I've kind of stuck around. It's just been fun. I enjoy it. You want to go somewhere. Do you want to go sit and win? Yeah, everybody wants to win, but you want to go somewhere and mean something.
Yep.
This is league. You win a game in this league, especially on the road.
No doubt
you've
about
done
it.
something, man. I just hope people, and I know you all do up there, but really appreciate what the Bison have done, and how they do it, and then they win on the road, and they're just amazing group.
I got to ask, when you heard this idea coming about doing an in-person media day, what were your thoughts about this? About
you didn't want to hear that, Yeah. Maybe you did hear me screaming from my lake cottage in southern Wisconsin.
I know you love going there.
Oh, I do. And
Colbeck and I know.
I got to leave early.
Yep.
And so that's it's our only time off.
Yes.
And your boss and I had a few conversations on as you know, those would be kind of colorful.
Yeah, I bet.
But I'll be honest with you, this has been really well done, and probably something our league deserves. Not probably, it is. Our league deserves this because it's such a good conference and a nice spot. This has been a good spot for it. I don't know if they'll move it around. Doesn't matter, but I've been very impressed. Yeah. I'm not saying I'm surprised. I've just been really impressed.
I know your favorite thing is talk about preseason polls and preseason All-American lists, but you had 6 preseason All-Americans. You're picked 4th in the league. You won 10 games last year. But I know you lost a couple guys, too, as everybody has in the portal. When you see that, the preseason stuff come out, do you or is that, that's people are excited about our program?
Yeah, I think more of that this time around, I'll be honest. Usually I'm the first, but I like where we're at.
Yeah.
As you know, COVID was really hard on
tough,
us.
Really tough.
I don't know why it just, and Patty kept telling me, hey, some people just get hard, or just hit us hard, and so we had to really rebuild our team. And I was in the process. I was in the stage of my career. I could take my time and build it right, and have a base, and make sure we're not a fly-by-night operation.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden the transfer portal comes up, and that's a little different. And we have all lost players, but someone told me, Pro Scout told me that us and you, North Dakota State, were the 2 teams that lost the least in the league.
Yep.
So maybe that's a good sign.
I think that's a sign of a good program.
Yeah, I hope that is.
And you've sent multiple guys to the league as well. That's the whole point of it. Now you and I have talked about you can still get to the NFL from Northern Illinois. It looks like you can Fargo, North Dakota.
I don't know why you'd want to risk your career and
potential earnings,
maybe not play and as much, and you still at least you'll get a chance to get somebody's training camp. I don't get it, but some guys still don't listen, and that's okay because usually those are guys you can probably afford to lose. The real smart ones are get it, and some of the money they're throwing out now,
it's just crazy,
right? I mean, how do you tell a kid hey, you can't take that, you should stay. Really?
Right, because if you were in the same position, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's
bye-bye.
Yeah, so I get it, but you don't have to like it, but you have to own it, and you have to understand if you want to be in coaching at this era, you're going to have to deal with it and not have to. So I just kind of dealt with it and just kind of like water off a duck. Now I wasn't like that earlier. I get pissed at every one of the kids.
I think you weren't alone. There were a lot of coaches like Matt Entz told me that it was the same way. That was something that really irritated. Like, why is this guy leaving? But now it's just you got to roll with the punches.
Yeah, it still bothers you, and because you think everybody's worked really hard. All of our players, and tried to develop these kids, and then they both, and so.
I want to go back. You mentioned building it. That 2019 team you had with obviously James Robinson, you had a great defense. You made the quarterfinals. Or we're on the cusp of maybe doing something. And then obviously COVID hit. How do you feel like that set you back a couple of years now where you're finally back rolling?
Yeah, it really did because I think the next year
you guys were really good.
Really good.
Yeah.
And it's easy to say because we never played.
Yep.
And then the team we had out there in the spring was not the same team.
No way.
And then we had. And then we got a bunch of injuries. I said, we can't do this anymore. So I pulled the plug on it. So I took some grief over that, but I felt that, I talked to a lot of coaches that are friends of mine. I say, Coach, you got to protect your team, and you got to protect the players. So I just felt that injury-wise, it wasn't worth it to come back and play another game. So long story short, I had to fight back from that. And I said, I'm going to take my time and now get the right guys. And we have some – not that we haven't. We've had very good players and some really good kids, some great kids. And for the most part, we've done the right thing. But I think any coach, if you stay stagnant, you're going to just kind of be okay.
Yeah.
I mean, if you want to be great, you have to kind of tweak it a little bit. And I think we've done that. I think we have a good team coming back. And one that made more like the 19 team.
Yeah, I look back,
team,
your quarterback being back and Tommy Rittenhouse being back for another season, to have that luxury of a guy that you've coached already and has started games in the league, you feel like you're 8 steps ahead of maybe other teams?
Huge steps. And, Tommy had surgery in the offseason, so he didn't play in the spring. And we went back and forth. Are we going to operate on him now? And our backup will get every snap of every 1, 2s, and 3s in the spring. We didn't have another guy until now. Now we're back to 4. But, we had a guy named Breeze in Purdue. And that's what he did as a sophomore.
Yeah.
We had no. I couldn't believe it. We only had one quarterback, and he was
That's
a sophomore.
Amazing. Yeah.
And he's going to sophomore, and he took every snap.
Wow.
And he took some. Coach Tiller was world renowned for his scrimmage toughness, and we go 150 snaps. He took every one of them.
Wow.
I mean, it was amazing. But we did that this spring, and that kid that brought that guy along a lot. And now I feel much better. If there is an injury, Tommy can run, and one of your animals might blow him up. You never know. I mean, it's just kind of the way it is. I'm a defensive coach.
You love that part of the game.
I mean, when you got a guy like this, he's going to run all over the place. Sometimes you might catch him, and he might get banged up, and he did last year. So, so it's nice to have another backup.
Okay, so Sam O'Jury come to you and say, "Hey, Tim Polisek called and offered me a job." How did that go down?
He was really kind of. I said, "Good for you."
Yeah.
Congratulations, and because I know what it's like to go back to your alma mater. It's special, and especially what he did there, and what you all did when he was playing there. And
but you took a chance on him, though. I mean,
we did,
he spoke glowingly of you when I asked him about that.
Coach Bull was really good in that. He was I was a former assistant at Wyoming when Coach Tiller and our staff was out there, and we talked a lot about that job. Before he even went there. But he's talking about Sam. I called him. Hey, I heard you got a young guy here, and I was recruiting him. And I tried to get him to decommit.
I remember.
And I told him on his interview. I said, Sam, you remember when I was coming? You didn't come in the room to come say hi. It pissed me off. I walked out of there, and I said, and I'm here interviewing you. I should walk out of this interview right now. And he laughed. And I said, that's not true. But I think you're a great kid.
Yeah.
And he ended up being really good. Everything Coach Bull said about him, and then he's really done a good job, and I think you guys are really going to like him.
Yeah, he's already been a fan favorite being back. I want us to talk about running back because you had Mason King for one play last year at Iowa. To get him back, what excitement level of that to see? I mean, in 2023, he was as good as anybody.
He was really good, and but he got hurt pretty good, and he's still battling some things with it. He's got some nerve issues, and we'll see. He'll have to play the brace on his foot, in his ankle. But we'll see. He's worked his butt off to come back, and he's a great kid. You really like him. He's a really good kid.
Great player too.
And he can really catch the football now. He's a really good athlete. And he's just got a way about it, way he moves, and how athletic he is, and really, I'm kind of surprised. He ended up at our place.
Yeah.
He was. I said, guys, we'd take you to Purdue, right now. Right. But anyways, good player.
Two last things for you. A, you got the Bison back in your building again, and it's a night game this year.
That's what I just heard.
Yeah.
I mean,
you didn't know that?
No. When did that come out? I mean,
like last month. I don't know. You should know this. You're the football coach.
I know. I don't know this. I've been too busy catching bluegills.
How about that? Is there some gamesmanship there, putting the Bison at night?
I don't know. Yeah. I mean, I kind of. It's a little different. I mean, at least you get to fly home.
That's true.
You don't have to bus all the way home. I've been to some of those. You have to bus home.
What's your longest bus trip you done?
Murray was pretty far. We played late in the afternoon, got home pretty late.
Yep.
And then obviously Missouri State when they were in the league. It was a long bus ride, but
Last thing, you keep getting FBS games. You've beaten Big Ten teams. Like, how do you keep getting these games on the schedule? I'm jealous of that because the Bison don't play. They can't get anybody. You guys are good. How you still get these games?
I don't know. Maybe they don't think we're any good anymore. So I don't.
You've beaten teams. It's
we
happened
have
recently.
Yeah, but we haven't played the Sooners. And
you haven't played Oklahoma.
No, we haven't played Oklahoma.
That's a different level.
Yeah, and yeah, it's a little different.
When your AD came to you with that, what did you say?
Are you kidding me? Really? But yeah, I get it. It's fun for our players and all our guys. Most of our kids in our league, they all play with a little chip on their shoulder, anyways. And okay, you want to play with the big boys? Here you go.
Yep. That's the biggest of them.
You're going to be.
Right?
You're going to see the best of the best.
There's
Now these are the best at your age in the world. Will be playing that game.
No doubt.
So we'll see what we're made of.
So great to see you. Thanks so much for making time.
Yeah.
All right, we'll see you in October.
Yeah,
all right?
we'll see you down at our place.
Make sure, absolutely.
Fly safe.
Brock Spack joining us, longtime Illinois State head coach joining us. We come back. Todd Stepsis, the newest guy in the league, will join us from Northern Iowa. We come back. Welcome back, everybody. Live here on WDAY Plus and Forum.com. Our Missouri Valley Football Conference Media Day continues with the new member of the league, the 4 new coaches. We got number 4 joining us. That's Todd Stepsis, the head coach of the University of Northern Iowa. He's joined our show previously as the head coach at Drake. Now, welcome to the big boys of the Missouri Valley Football Conference. First off, congratulations on the gig. Tell me, when the job opened, was it something you were paying attention to? Was it on the radar?
No. And it probably stems back to upbringing. So my dad, longtime coach, same school system for 35 years. So everything that I've grown up around has been be great where your feet are.
Yep.
Your head and your heart better be where you're sitting. And so a lot of the opportunities in the 26 years of coaching haven't necessarily been anything that I've been looking for that have kind of found us. And this was one of those opportunities that maybe on the surface, you talked a little bit about it, the big boys now and the cream of the crop. And, I mean, the history of UNI, all the arrows pointed towards the direction of taking it. But, when you invest, your life into a place and you pour your heart and soul into it, it's hard to leave. And, not only a school but also the community. And so, along those same lines, that's probably what pushed us to taking the job is, UNI football really matters in the Cedar Valley. People love the Panthers, and again, as a football team, we have an obligation and an opportunity to make a difference and make an impact, and what a better community to do that.
I'm interested. We've talked, obviously, the 2 previous times you took Drake up to Fargo, and you turned Drake into a perennial playoff team. That's something Drake football was not. It was not good. Describe that work ethic, the trajectory to get Drake respectable. How proud are you of that?
Oh, yeah. It's not only personally proud, but just proud of everybody that had a part in it. I think that was really the turning point of us being able to get that thing going in the direction that it was going and to get it where it was. The potential was always there. It was just a matter of kind of refocusing on the important things and then – again, getting the right people on the bus. We had a great team and a great staff, and a lot of those staff members are with us here up at Dome.
So now the challenge, obviously, coming in, portal, all the other. There's a new coach. Like, okay, how many guys are actually going to be here? How many we got to describe that of what life was like shortly after you got the job, and then trying to figure out what the roster is going to be for your football team.
Right. That was one of the unknowns, and it feels like we've had a bunch of those to where. Boy, it could have been one thing, but it ended up being something that was pretty great. And so, day one, that Tuesday that we got announced that we were going to be up there, it was the day before that December signing day. And so it's like, okay, how's this going to go?
Right.
And so on my drive from Des Moines to Cedar Falls, calling all those guys, and all of them were still in. I'm like, okay. All right, that's a good start.
Good start.
And then we're in the team room meeting the whole squad, and
you could tell that while they were bummed about the season that they had, and maybe some of those guys were close to a position coach that maybe wasn't going to be there, they all committed to that place for the right reasons. They all play for the right reasons. Their purpose was in line with what I think is important, and so we were able to inherit a really good roster and didn't have to add a ton of pieces mid-year, though. Again, fortunately, good timing, and we were able to scoop some guys up in January that are all going to help us in the fall.
Todd, people know Northern Iowa football. Tough, always been really consistent near the top of the league. That hasn't been the case over the last 4 years. Have made the playoffs. People know the financial struggles that are going on at the university as well. Where do you see the biggest challenge of turning this around and getting Northern Iowa back to the top half of the league?
I think sometimes you just have to learn how to win again. And sometimes you have to go through a bunch of losses to get there. So, hopefully that was last year, But, again, I know it's not going to be easy. At Drake, fortunately, unfortunately, our non-conference was against the teams that were in our backyard,
right.
And they were all the great teams in this league. So, we know that we have a big challenge ahead of us. We know that there's things that we're chasing, programs that we're chasing. But then we also the nice thing about them being in our league is we know, okay, what they've done and what it's taken for them to get to that point. And so now it's, can we get that same backing? And that was, one of the many things that, let us say, okay, let's make this move. Let's take this jump. Or, evidence in time that, okay, things are changing. I mean, the first time this dome opens here in our opener, it's going to look a lot different.
I was going to talk about that. So
and so like seeing that as an investment, how they've poured into our team and other things, financially that the university has backed us on. I think we're heading in the right direction. We still have a ways to go, but it's not as big of a gap as it used to be.
I know, obviously, there's been a ton of money invested into the Unidome. For those that don't know, give us the lowdown, because NDSU hasn't been there, heck, now in almost 2 years, of what's going on down there and how different it's going to look when you open up the season there in a couple months.
Well, everybody probably was used to the rainbow of colors that were in the seating there.
That's right. Yes.
And it's funny. The first time I'd ever been in the dome, was a few days before we took the job, and so.
Is that right? You had never been in there before.
So I'd probably driven by it 100 times in recruiting, but never stepped foot in it. And I thought it was impressive, even with the rainbow that was going on. But boy, I tell you, that rainbow is gone. It's all now purple in there, which a lot of people are so excited about. And I'm thinking in my head, wow, if you're this excited about purple, gosh, we can win a couple games. I think we're going to have something here. But it's all one uniform color. The seating in the bowl is all brand new, and then on the one sideline they've got 10 boxes going in with some premium seating up there as well. So it looked big time before all the renovations, and it's going to continue to be a premier facility in the country.
Where you've obviously had an uphill battle recruiting-wise at Drake, knowing full well the level of players that are in that part of the world, how do you get them now to go to Cedar Falls, knowing Iowa State are there, Nebraska's hanging around, that NDSU will swoop into Iowa. South Dakota State's coming in to get those guys to stay home. We want you to play for Northern Iowa.
Yeah, well, I tell you one thing that we have going for us is we have a great reputation in the state. So you walk in any school, I guarantee you there's at least one teacher, maybe a couple that are grads, and so the reputation of the education, the future that you're going to get going to Northern Iowa is there, and I just think it's going to be winning. I think to be blunt about it. To keep guys from leaving the state, to keep guys from from playing other places that are our level. I mean, are we going to go after the guys that Iowa State are? Sure. Are we realistically we're going to get those guys? Probably not. But for us to keep our conference from taking some of our best players in the state, we're going to have to win. And so that's the same thing at Drake. I mean, we struggled to keep guys, local guys in state, and then all of a sudden we had some great years, and then lo and behold, half the rosters from Des Moines. So it's like, we need to have some success. Kids have to believe that they're joining a winner, because at the end of the day, we want guys that think that their future is important, but we want guys to love football too. And
how different is your recruiting pitch now? Because academically wise, obviously there's a challenge at Drake than it is Northern Iowa, and that's not to throw shade at you and I, but it's just different. Scholarship-wise, obviously, was not the case at Drake that it is there. Does that change your pitch on how you go into homes now?
No.
Okay.
It's what's interesting. 26 years of coaching. the profile that a lot of people associate with Drake. Those were our best players regardless of the school that we went to. I mean, the ones that, not only they loved football, but they were disciplined enough to be good students in high school. They were great leaders, multi-sport guys. They're looking for a great football experience, a place that can take them to the football profession that they want to end at, which could be the NFL or whatever. But they also realize that their time left on this road when they're not going to be playing football is a lot more than the time that they are. So, I think the pitch is still the same. We're still looking for guys that want it all. But it is nice where we do come across a guy that wants those things, that have the same kind of beliefs that we have, but couldn't afford a private school education to be able to provide an opportunity. I think is really neat.
Give me the guys that you have returning that have stood out during the spring ball, saying we're going to have to count on them to win some games in 2025.
Yeah, well, I'll probably just highlight the two guys we brought with us. So Derek Anderson, last year was a two-way player, which when I found that out, I'm kind of looking at him, I'm like, all right, so what surgery did you have? Because how in the heck in the valley did you do that? But, he had a great spring at tight end. We're going to keep him on offense. We'll probably use him on a special teams unit, but he's got to have a great. He's got the skill set that a tight end that you'd want. So he can be a point of attack guy in the blocking. You can attach him, you can detach him. He's got a great route tree to him. He's got soft hands, big body, great ball skills. I love his story. Like, to me, if you can have a roster full of guys like him, you would do it, because here he is, started as a walk-on, and not only is he now on a full ride and all the extra things that go with it, he's a team captain. He has measurables to where, boy, if he has a great year and runs a great time at a pro day, he might be the next draft pick. So he's got to have a great year. And then Tucker Langenberg, he was a captain last year.
Really good player.
Awesome player, great nose for the ball, great football mind too. Has done a nice job of not only learning the new system, but then taking others under his wing. That's been a lot of fun seeing the older players kind of bring the younger guys along. They know that, okay, what do we want our legacy to be? Like, our time here is up. This is the last season, and so how can I live on here? And so how both Tucker and Derek have poured into our team. Whether it's a freshman in their position group or whether it's somebody that they don't talk to very much, they've done a nice job with that.
So I know, before I let you go, and I really appreciate you coming by, the priorities are high when you're a new coach, but when eventually do you look across the schedule? Like, okay, this is who we have to play. Like, how high or how early in the job process was that?
Well, it was early just because of all the familiarity.
Yeah.
I mean, I just
played them, right?
I mean, so I'm like, oh, Butler, wow, okay, know them. Oh, Eastern Washington, went out there, played them, and then of course all
South
the Dakota
State,
schools,
North Dakota, North Dakota
played those
State,
guys a bunch. So it was, sometimes you look forward to new opponents. So I am looking forward to Illinois State and Southern Illinois and some of those places. But seen them in game tapes at times, but never been to those places or gone against those guys. So I mean, they're going to be just as challenging as the rest. But it was just I looked at the schedule. I was like, wow.
I haven't had a chance to bring this up, and before we go, I know you're on a new job, but that win at Eastern Washington was huge. How big a deal was that going back, knowing Eastern Washington football, how big a deal it is? Yeah. Did your eyes ever recover from the red turf? Because it's tough, man. I've been out there a couple times. It's not easy on the eyes.
Well, not only was the red turf kind of blinding, but I think at kickoff we played at night.
Yeah,
it was 95 degrees. And so here we are, this red turf, and it's this is hot, guys. I feel like we're in an oven.
But how big a deal was that for the school? That's a known quantity you guys beat.
Yeah, I mean, that was a defining moment.
Yeah.
I mean, so just to be able to go on the road out there, storied program, 40-point underdog or whatever the heck we were, and just continue to, because a lot of times when you play games like that, you can't. Maybe you jump off to a really great start, but then you just get overwhelmed by the speed and the size. Where we jumped out to a good start, and then they came back, but then we kind of came back, and just to see the team battle back and forth, and then to be able to win it in overtime, it was. Yeah, that one. You have a lot of great football memories as a player and as a coach. That one will definitely be in there forever.
It's great to see you, bud. Congrats on the new job. Good luck this year. We'll see you in November, okay?
Yeah, looking forward to it.
Todd Stepsis, head coach at the University of Northern Iowa. Panthers get going here in just a little bit. We'll take our final break. We come back. We'll wrap things up. Curt Mallory, Indiana State head coach, will join us. We wrap things up here from Sioux Falls after this. All right, we saved the best for last as we wrap things up here on Missouri Valley Football Conference Media Day from Sioux Falls of the Pentagon. Indiana State head coach Curt Mallory joins us. Great to see him. Okay, you're moving up the leaderboard in tenure here because I was giving Spack a hard time. So Spack, Nick Hill, and yourself now you're in the top half of the league.
How about it? It goes by fast.
Would you believe that if I told you that?
It's been 9 great years.
Yeah. Describe this event first. You've been in the league for 8 years prior. When you heard they were going to do this, what were your thoughts?
Well, you know what? This has been a great event. It's been nothing but first class. And you know what? At the end of the day, we're all friends, and got a lot of respect for all the coaches in this league. And it's always good to get around them and share ideas.
So we did not see Indiana State last year. They were off the Bison schedule. Tell us about 2024 and what you're looking forward to for this upcoming fall.
Well, I think, biggest thing is we were close in a lot of games.
Yeah.
We were able to have 2 big wins, one against Southern Illinois and North Dakota, but we're in close in a lot of them. We just got to finish. And I really like the way this team has approached the offseason. When the season got over, Dom, there wasn't any rest. They got back after it. I had a really good spring. It's been a really good summer. Just really anxious to get started here on Sunday.
Describe the anticipation of that, knowing veteran coach, you bring guys back. Mm-hmm. I know everyone's losing players, but the anticipation of we have a good core here to build on what you guys did last year.
Maybe haven't got a lot of guys that are returning starters. We've got a lot of guys that return and have played. And I think that's the big part. The thing that you're seeing is these guys have been working while they've waited their time. And it's going to show. I really like our quarterback. The guy's going to touch the ball every play. And the leadership and the experience that he's going to bring.
Knowing that's the position. If you've got a guy you trust or like, how much further ahead are you than if it's an unknown at that spot?
Well,
or if you're juggling that spot.
Well, I think it's a big part of it. We've been fortunate to have some really good quarterbacks in the past, and I think he's got a chance to be as good, if not the best one we've had. And but it starts with his leadership. And he's the guy that leads the team. It's not just one side of the ball. I think that's where he's really come out of his shell, and he's comfortable. He's comfortable getting in front of the team and speaking. He's quiet by nature, but when he gets on the football field, he lets it out.
Knowing you guys always play FBS opponents, you normally play Big Ten opponents. Tell me that scheduling philosophy. I know part of it is monetary. You need it for obviously money for the program, but getting those schedule opportunities, how important is that to you to stay, especially for you being a Big Ten guy close to Indiana?
We're always going to start our recruiting in the state of Indiana. And, we're very thankful that 2 great institutions like Purdue and Indiana play us. And I think that's great for the state. I think it's great for our program. We have a great contingency of Indiana players at state of Indiana, guys that played in the state. I played high school football in the state of Indiana. Have a tremendous amount of respect for the football that's being played here. And to play those 2 teams. And every year it rotates. This year it's Indiana. Last year, of course, was Purdue. So 2 great programs, great opportunity for us.
Indiana, of course, coming off a pretty good year.
Yeah.
When you see now after the year they had, you're looking like, all right, Signetti's team how good are they going to be in 2025?
Sure. Well, I got a lot of respect for both programs, and Coach Odom, Coach Signetti. They do a great job, and just grateful for the opportunity and excited for that time when it comes.
Now, I'm interested as well, when you see it, how many of the Dakota schools do you get on there? Like, okay, we're missing these 2. That's okay. Maybe there's 2 more games that are winnable for us this year. Is that something? As a head coach, you probably can't worry about, right?
No, worried about the first one. And I know it's coach speak, but our focus is on the very first one. Get that first one. It'll be a heck of a challenge for us. We open up on a Thursday night, and therefore we're able to start this Sunday. A great opportunity with McKendree, and then the season gets rolling after that. But focus on that. As you know, you've been in this conference a long time. Every team's good, and got a great amount of respect for the coaches and the programs. You're going to play a ranked team every week.
Knowing where you're at now, is the program in a spot where you want it to be? I know you've not won as many games you wanted, but now starting year 9, are you where you want to be? If I would have told you this when you took the job?
Well, it gets better every year, and every team's a little bit different, but the culture just keeps getting better, and that's a tribute from year 1 to year 2 and so on and so forth. And but no, obviously you like to have more wins. That goes without saying. But really like this team. I've been blessed to be the head football coach at Indiana State. Talked to my wife the other day. When you get into this profession, sometimes you aren't blessed to be able at the same place for 9 years.
Yep.
And I've been able to have all three of my children go to the same high school from start to finish.
Wow.
And that
rarity in coaching.
It really is. And they had a great experience at Terre Haute South High School. And but Terre Haute's home, and just very blessed to be the head coach at Indiana State.
For people that don't know, you work with Craig Bowl for a bit. Can you give us a good Bowl story? Obviously, for friends in Fargo, they know Craig from his days. You got one that sticks out?
Well, I got a lot of respect for Coach Bowl. He was very instrumental in me getting this opportunity at Indiana State. Just the knowledge that he brought, and just my time there with Coach. It was a lot of strong ties in North Dakota State, and with Coach Fuchs, I have his son on my team.
Yeah. And
Hank's on our team, and obviously Coach Vig and Grant Olson spent some time, and Amy and him. But one of the things that really sticks out with Coach Bowl and what kind of man he is they were coming off a national championship season at Nebraska. He was a defense coordinator, and I was a young coach, just getting into the profession, and went and visited Nebraska like many of us did, and he took all day. He spent the whole day with me, and just answering questions, and it always stuck to me, and I had the opportunity to go work for Coach Bowl. It was a no-brainer. I followed his career, and what he meant to me, and that day that I spent with him was exactly how he was. He was very authentic. He was very genuine. And I don't know if there's a better person in this profession that I have more respect for.
Grant Olson, you mentioned, spent a couple years with you as a linebackers coach. Did you get a sense there that this guy can be maybe a head coach down the road?
When I was at Wyoming, Coach Stannard, of course, Steve, he was our defensive coordinator. And, Grant was up in the box. And, I was blown away. What he would see up in the box. I've been doing this a long time, and I couldn't believe what he. And sure enough, you turn on the film the next day, and and he was right on. And just his knowledge and understanding. He is as smart a football player and a coach I've ever been around.
Really, I mean, I covered him when he was a player. He was, and just how he would speak about that's not a typical response I would hear out of a football. It was just how cerebral he was about it. And that's certainly how it looks like he's coaching as well.
We'd be sitting in meetings, and I'd look over at Grant. I could just see those wheels turn, the smoke coming out of his ear, and I would turn to him like, well, what's And I wasn't the only one. Coach Stanner was the same way. We would say, what do you see? What do you think? And he did. He's got a great mind, and he's an up and coming rock star.
I got to ask, I think we talked about this last time you were on my show about high school football in Indiana. You played it. Yep. I think people always associate, certainly now, the Pacers had the great run. Basketball in Indiana go hand in hand.
Sure.
Football's pretty darn good there.
Really
Tell us about that, about the level of football. The Bison have gone in and recruited. Michael Tutsi being one out of Indianapolis is a really heck of a great player. The level of football is pretty good in the state of Indiana.
It really is. Obviously, I'm biased. I played high school football, but I've recruited the state for a long time. I know the type of coaches that are in the state and the job that they do, and I've seen the programs just evolve and get better. And we've got a great number of young men from the state of Indiana, but there's really good football being played in the state. There's from Indianapolis, of course, everyone talks about Indianapolis, but there's good football in Evansville. There's good football in Fort Wayne. There's good football in Bloomington and Lafayette and the region. I mean, and anywhere in between. There really is. South Bend. I mean, you've got great football there, and that's where we're always going to start our recruiting.
All right, last question. I'll get you in trouble on this.
Okay.
Because I had this email to me. Indiana State's biggest football rival is blank. Who is it?
Well,
depends on who you ask, probably, right?
Well, I think it is. I think obviously we've got really two. Eastern Illinois is a big rivalry. It's proximity. It's a great rivalry for both teams. It's great for both programs. We're 30 miles apart. And then obviously Illinois State.
Illinois State came to mind for me.
Yeah. Those two are great rivalries. Great to have. I've got a tremendous amount of respect for the programs and the coaches that they have.
So great to see you. Thanks so much for doing this. Good luck this year. We will see you in October. Terre Haute in October is beautiful, so I'm looking forward to be back out there, all right?
All right, thank you.
Curt Mallory joining us, Indiana State head football coach. And that will wrap things up here from Missouri Valley Football Conference Media Day in Sioux Falls. We appreciate our whole crew in making this happen both this morning and this afternoon. Much more coverage coming up tonight on our news at 6 and 10, and we'll have it throughout the day, also tomorrow on Hot Mic. Thanks so much for watching, everybody, and good afternoon from Sioux Falls.